All right, it's just as intuitive as if we think back to any function. If we talked about that having a horizontal stretch, we would see a value in here of b at x. Now I want you to visualize if I take a graph of a sinusoidal function and I stretched it horizontally. The max isn't going to change, the min isn't going to change, but this graph is going to be stretched out, and what does that affect? It affects the period. So we talk about a stretch as being either pulling it out or pushing it toward the y-axis. So in this case, this is going to look like a horizontal stretch by a factor of 1 over 2. Remember, with the horizontal stretches, it's the reciprocal about the y-axis. Here, we're going to have a horizontal stretch by a factor of 2 about the y-axis. Now, because this affects the period, what happens is if I'm in radians, we take 2 pi divided by b, and if I'm in degree mode, we take 360 divided by b, and we only consider the absolute value or just the positive value of b. So when it says state the period for function 1, the period is equal to 2 pi over b, which is 2 pi over 2, which is just pi. So we know that the standard period for a regular sine function, this guy right here, just without a b value, that is 2 pi. So if I vertically stretch it by a factor of a half, it's going to take that period down to a pi. So that graph is going to repeat after every pi units on the x-axis. And for graph number 2, we're going to look at let me do this over here. The period is going to be 2 pi divided by b, which is 2 pi divided by 1/2. I'll just remind you of what that looks like, right? 2 pi divided by a half, which is 2 pi times the reciprocal of this. So it is 4 pi. Describe the effect of the parameter b on the graph y is equal to sine of bx. B is the horizontal stretch. And we know that it affects the period. So it'll be 2 pi divided by b, or 360 degrees divided by b. And yes, the same effects happen on cosine bx. All right, I am going to let you try example number 4, A, B, and C, and I'll come back and I'll go through them quickly.